know until I talk to the trainer. So we have till I think 1 tomorrow.
You had mentioned the game planning that you and your staff do when the players are gone early in the week. Are you have you thought about a scenario potentially where you might be losing any of those guys and what that process might be like for you?
Um, the guys that we plan on playing. Sorry, you're
Sorry,
muted.
the assistant coaches, like losing those guys in the future. Given, I mean, they're probably going to be candidates for some
I
jobs.
gotcha. Yeah, I mean, you think about it all the time. That's why you're always trying to train people, and I mean, it's so you can't speak of enough about one having talented people, but just the time and the experience of working with people. I mean, you can't make that up in 1 year. So you're always trying to get guys with you and train them the best way, and you want to hold on to them as long as possible. But we got a number of really good coaches, and I understand you can't do that forever.
Kyle, this is going back to last season, to the last game in Seattle. On that final play, can you remember what was going through your head at that moment?
Um, Probably not much. In terms of it was very clear. You're just completely locked in and just watching the moment and sitting there wishing you could do something about it and just sitting there just watching your guys. And I mean, it's just completely silent. At least that's how it feels to me. I feel like you can't hear anything. And then all of a sudden, everyone just erupts on our sidelines. And I've I've been burned before where I erupt and then it ends up being overturned or something like that. So even though I watched our guys run all the way the other way and everyone was celebrating, it took me about 5 minutes before I fully accepted it. It wasn't until we fully had the ball and could finish, or until we were actually on the field that I knew that we had won. But it was a cool moment.
Hey, Kyle, speaking of everyone running the other way into the end zone, John Lynch sprinted there into the end zone um, and was wildly celebrating. Did you catch that either in the moment or on tape? And have you discussed that with him?
Oh yeah, I didn't catch in the moment, but it was one of the most fun things the next day, making fun of him and showing to the team and pointing it out. And he's usually Captain America, but every once in a while, Red 47 comes out, and you see that moment in games where he gets excited at the end, and him, McGlinchey, Kittle, and Lakin are all the most violent celebrators, and it's a matter of time before one of those guys injure me. So I try to stay away when they're excited.
Hey, Kyle, how do you assess the fatigue level of your team after completing the second cross country trip of the season before the bye week?
I mean, it definitely affects you. I mean, you can feel it during the week. I used to not know what people were talking about, and now I think I just notice it a lot more. I notice it myself even, and then you start to ask some of the other coaches, and you see it in guys. But you recover as the week goes. At least you feel better, and you get more used to it. Um, it's right now you don't have time to think about it. I keep telling our guys, I mean, we got 2 games here in 6 days, which is a lot, and but everyone's got to go through that, and but I plan on us not having anything left after 6 days from now, and I try to tell them that that's all right because after our 2 games in 6 days, and I believe we have 1 game in 24 days. So you're going to go from one extreme to the other, and both can sometimes be a negative, but both sometimes can be a positive. Just depends how you react to it, and I think our guys have been through about everything, so I expect us to react well.
Kyle, throughout this season, you guys have had a pretty full injury report, and I'm sure you don't mind having the opposition guess along and try to figure out who's playing and who's not. How do you handle it on the other side when you see the Seahawks and you kind of monitor who's practicing and who's not? And I mean, they have 2 running backs questionable, one doubtful. Jamal Adams is questionable. How do you approach that during the course of the week, preparing for somebody who may or may not be available for a game?
I mean, if it affects your game plan, then you always prepare that they're going to play, and that's pretty much what I do with anyone who will change how we call a game or what we put in. So you always assume they're going to play. You never get surprised by that, and you just wait till kickoff, and if they're not, then I'm definitely not upset about it. And it's a lot easier to react. But when you count on someone not playing and then they do, I mean, that's something that I just try to never let happen to us. You always assume people are playing, and It's just like some guys go down on the first play of a game. It doesn't change much when someone leaves, as long as you're prepared for them to be out there.
You mentioned the Thursday game that's coming up. When that's the case, do you, look at snap counts? Do you make decisions on who comes off of IR, knowing that you've got a game coming up right away, or is it sort of unwise or dangerous to sort of look ahead that far when it comes to the immediate game, the Sunday game?
I think it's pretty dangerous to do that, but I mean, if there's something that makes sense and you can control something, then you definitely do. I mean, it's tough to play those two games, but I don't think about that during the game. I mean, I'm not counting people's reps because of it or anything like that. But if you ever have a situation where they're like, "Hey, we think maybe this guy could really, might be a little bit sooner than ahead of schedule, but he could tough this game out and probably get through it, but there's no way he could play Thursday then." then usually you don't play them, and then you wait to Thursday. Where on a full week, if they're like that, it's usually if you can go, you can play the next game because it's 7 days away. But if you can go in this but not play 4 days away, then I think a little differently. Then if they're not healthy enough to play in this game, or to be recovering 4 days, then they shouldn't be going in this game.
Kyle, I have a question for you. Not necessarily a football question, but has to do with your staff. Not sure if you saw, but Wes Welker posted a video of his son eating candy that was, I guess, provided by you and your family. One, did you see the video? Two, how did this all come about? And also, could you just detail that relationship between you and the rest of your coaching staff?
Well, I have seen the video because Wes and my wife both sent it to me. And it was really funny. I wish I could take credit for it. Bobby Turner thanked me today for the whatever we gave them, and I had no idea what he was talking about. That was my wife who did that, so I'm not even sure what they got, but she gave all them something. I wish I could have taken credit for it, but then she and Wes showed me that their son wished it was from Debo and not me and my wife, so which I totally understand. I would feel the same, so it was pretty funny.
Kyle, looking ahead again towards that Thursday, how do you plan and prepare for yourself and the way you're scheduled throughout this next few days?
For me, I don't do anything. I mean, I'm all about Sunday in Seattle, and I just fully accept that Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and up to kickoff on Thursday are going to be a grind. And that's something that you just get used to. Playing Thursday night games, that's usually probably the most times that coaches sleep in the office and stuff like that. But I love it personally just because you don't get days off in the league unless you have a bye week. Always I don't mind toughing out any days knowing that you get a few days off, which I think really needed for our team right now, players and coaches, and just everyone just to rest a little bit. So I'm looking forward to a tough Monday through Thursday. You always hope that it finishes well, and then you enjoy a few days off. That's nice to sit around and watch everyone else for a little bit. But a lot of the other coaches, they got to get stuff prepared, so we're ready to put that grind in on Monday right away. So a lot of other coaches got to stay around a little bit later today, do some stuff at the hotel tomorrow where all the cut-ups and their projects and all the stuff that they get for us are ready to go right away Monday morning.
Kyle, important follow-up question. Red 47, is that an official nickname? Where did that come from? I know the jersey number, obviously, but where did that originate?
I'm not sure where it originated, but it's. I mean, everyone's seen John Lynch play football, and that's Red 47, and everyone's seen how he acts and how he carries himself, and that's Captain America. And you see those two personalities clash sometimes. But usually it's hard to get him to Red 47. Usually you see it on the football field, and you can random see it when he gets a little worked up with football stuff. So it's in there. We know that.
Hey Kyle, how's Kevin White progressed in his 3 months on the roster?
Kevin's done a real good job. It's been great to get him up twice, which we could do that more. But he's a guy that, if ever need be, won't hesitate to bring him up full time. He's working to learn this stuff, which he got a late start on. He's done real well. Everyone knows the ability he has, and the way he's carried himself fits in really well here. And we're really enjoying the person and the athlete.
Hey, Kyle, I could sneak in two questions. One, I just in regard your facility won't have to
Sorry, you
be
gotta start over.
closed on election day.
You gotta
I'm
start over.
guessing
You
just
got
because.
muted. Start over. You were muted.
Okay. Okay.
I heard
If
election
I
day,
could
so maybe we should
stick in
mute you.
2 questions.
Go ahead, man. You're good.
Okay. Hopefully you can hear me. All right. So I'm going to assume your facility does not have to be closed on election day because you have the Thursday game. And then also just wanted to ask you what your thoughts were on DK Metcalf. Just your kind of scouting report when he was coming out in the draft.
Yes, I hope it's not closed on Tuesday just because we have a Thursday night game, and that would make it very tough. So I have not asked that yet, but I'm assuming that ours and Green Bay's are the ones that are allowed to be open. And what was it with DK? What is the scouting report?
Yeah, just what were your thoughts on him? I know, everyone thought he was a physical freak. Maybe there's some questions like
coming out?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you could see you could see how big he was, how he ran, had the ability to do everything. In his offense a little bit, they didn't, he's kind of stayed at one spot. He didn't get to do as much routes as he's doing now, so you couldn't see all of that. And he had some bad luck with some injuries, which, I think made some people worried. But everyone sees now. He's as good as there gets right now, and he's been healthy, plays hard, and he's got a big future. Wish he wasn't in our division.
Kyle, Jimmy Ward is your starting free safety, but on third down, it seems like he kind of does anything but play single high free safety. How does his versatility help your defense, particularly on third down?
Anytime you have a safety who's extremely good in the middle of the field, an extremely good tackler, he could blitz, and I think he's been one of our best cover guys, whether on a tight end, a receiver, or a back. That since I've been here, so. When you can do that, you can just use them a lot of different ways. Gives our defense a lot of different decisions on how matchups and man-to-man and different places to put him because of the physicality he plays with. And it's always really good to have Jimmy out there throughout the game, but especially third down.
Is Contavious dealing with an illness? And if the answer is yes, what does that mean for his availability on Sunday? Does he have to pass a number of tests before he can be cleared?
Yeah, he's got to pass one more test tomorrow, and then it'll be cleared. So hopefully we'll get him out there. I don't know if it's going to work out to fly with the team or anything like that. So we'll have to figure it out. I don't know when the test gets back. I'm sure it'll get back after we've already left. But if he has no symptoms tomorrow and he passes his second test, then he'll be allowed to play on Sunday. I think he has one more.
Yeah. Well, would he have to fly, by himself in that scenario?
I think it's too far to drive, so I don't think he could get there. And I don't know the exact rules of it. I just know he can't fly with us till we get the test results back. So I'm sure he can fly with someone, but I'm sure we'd have to get him a plane or something like that. All right, guys. Thanks.
What's up, guys?
Hey, Kyle, I'm curious about when you guys get the game plan each week and there's a bunch of new stuff that you haven't seen before. How difficult is it to cram and learn all of those things? And also as a fullback, um, there are lots of plays where you'll cut across formations and make blocks. Are you freelancing at all in those situations based on what you see, or is that all part of the plan?
Um, that's every week that we come in and we see a bunch of new stuff that we've never done before. That's literally every Wednesday. So that's something that you just kind of get used to. And originally it was a little bit tougher, but at this point, you just have like a solid foundation of what we're running, and then we just kind of tweak a few things. Um, so it's not as bad as it used to be. So you just kind of get used to that aspect of it. And as far as my role and me kind of, crossing like the formation, like you said, and just kind of ending up on guys that you might not expect. Some of that is just reacting to the play and blocking who's most dangerous. But it's not. I don't go up to the line of scrimmage and just think, okay, I don't have an assignment here and just block whoever. I usually do have an assignment of where I need to get to, and then just kind of react from there based on what happens during the play.
Hey, Kyle, this might be a bit of a random question, but when you have a game like you did on Sunday, especially in terms of blocking, is there like a zone that you can get in as a blocker? I know people talk about like, shooters and basketball, things like that, but just like where you feel like you're hitting on everything, and can you feel that in a game like that?
Yeah, most definitely. You do you get in this zone of you just I mean for me you always see I'm mixing up cut blocks and what we call climb blocks, where you're staying up on the guy, and sometimes it's just a little bit of a feel and almost sometimes a guess on whether, all right, is this the time to cut him or is this the time to stay up on him, and sometimes you're just feeling it and you guess right, or you can just feel the intention of the guy that you're blocking and how he's going to take you on, and sometimes it's just easy for you and it's clicking. So yeah, you do kind of get in a zone like that, as you would as like a shooter in basketball.
Kyle, you've been a lead blocker this season already for five different tailbacks. Does it matter to you, who you're lined up with back there? Do you have to know the guy, the style, in how you set up and execute your blocks?
Yeah, it's wild to think that we've we've gotten to our fifth tailback at times, and they're still extremely impressive. But no, honestly, I don't change up my style for any of those guys. I've said it before. There's a common trait with all those guys, and it's speed. And even the guys who might not run the 4-3s, Jeff Wilson and Jermichael Hasty still play extremely fast, and they do such a good job of setting up my blocks. That's really the biggest thing, and I think the biggest difference in myself and other fullbacks is I'm not just trying to move a guy from point A to point B. I'm trying to make him move himself, just with my aiming points and where I put my hat on his. And those running backs help me do that. They help stress that linebacker, and thinking, whether we're going to take this to the sideline or if this is inside zone. And they understand what I'm doing in front of them, and they can help me make that block easier for myself.
Kyle, sorry if you've been asked this already. My Wi-Fi went out for the first question, but with all those different running backs behind you, without giving away any offensive secrets, how much does Kyle's plan for the week change with those different guys out there? I know he tries to put people in the best situation for their skill set. Do you see a lot of swing in the plays that he calls?
Honestly, no, I don't notice too much of a difference in that. That's it's probably a better question for him, and I don't know if he would ever give you the honest answer, but he probably changes some things. But so much changes from week to week that it's hard for us as the player to really like hone in on, okay, we're doing more of this when Jet is in or when Raheem is in. It really it doesn't seem to be too much of a difference for us.
Kyle, you always do such a good job with blocking and the dirty work and the non-glamorous aspects of football. What did it mean to you to get 4 carries and 2 targets and to be involved that heavily in the game that way?
It means a lot. I've said it before. I'm not the fullback that is gonna tell you my favorite thing to do is to go block on 50 snaps a game. I love touching the ball, and just my mentality since college is that the better I block and the more blocks I get, the more opportunities I'm gonna get to touch the ball. So for Kyle to reward me like that last week and let me get those carries and have some targets, it means everything to me. That it fires me up. You can see me. I'm smiling every time I touch the ball. And honestly, it helps me on the next play if I need to go block because I know the type of energy I get when I do get those opportunities.
Hey, Kyle, I thought that explanation of all those blocking angles was super interesting and complex. I'm wondering, it's your 4th year now in the offense. Have you had the chance to sit down with Kyle and actually, be in on the ground floor when he's making some of these plays? Does he consult with you to make sure that, some of the angles are appropriate when he's designing stuff?
Yeah, honestly, we've never, him and I have never sat down and, constructed things together, but um, I have a lot of those discussions with Mike McDaniel, and he's kind of my intermediary man to Kyle. I have a ton of those kind of discussions with Mike, and I know those get to Kyle, just based on comments that Kyle will make the next day and that sort of thing, and things that coaching points that he'll make during our run installation or on Fridays we have what is our run tape and we go over all our run plays from the week and highlights from the previous week. I can tell just from what Kyle points out that what me and Mike McDaniel have been talking about has gotten through to him. Thanks, guys.
Guys, we got Trent here for you.
Hey, Trent, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. With all the different running backs you've had back there, Kyle obviously puts guys in the best position possible for their skill set. Do you see a lot of difference in the plays that he calls when different guys are back there, obviously without giving any offensive secrets away?
Honestly, I don't. I don't really see a difference. Most of the time, I don't even notice who in until they running past me. So, yeah, I honestly do not see a difference in the way he called plays.
Trent, I'm assuming when you were with Kyle in Washington, he would bring new plays to the offense on install day on Wednesdays. I'm wondering now if that process is more complex, if there are more new plays, and if it's any more difficult now that you're with the new team and he's has a more robust playbook, and when you come in and do those installs on Wednesdays.
Oh yeah, definitely the playbook and the plays that he has installed now from the playbook I was used to in Washington. I mean, it's night and day. It's the same theme, same scheme. A lot of it is off the stretch, but Kyle got people going every which direction. It's literally it's like a Chinese fire drill for some linebackers to kind of see who got the ball, and they have certain keys and certain people that they gotta watch, and Cal is smart enough to know that. He send those guys in the opposite direction and make guys kind of slow play or overplay. So I mean, and with that brings great complexity to the playbook in itself, because it's you see just a guy running by, but it's a lot of tag words that you got to put in just to let that guy know that he's the one running the opposite way or the way to the play. Like it's very very it's like science almost, and Cal is like a rocket science in my opinion.
I imagine in a noisy stadium, the tackles have the hardest time hearing the play call. What's been your experience in the past in places like Seattle? And this year, have you sort of noted and appreciated how much easier it is for you during road games this year?
Oh yeah. I mean, like last time I was in Seattle, when the 12th man was rocking. I mean, literally hard to even hear yourself talk, let alone the person next to you. So if you don't communicate when you side by side in the huddle, leaving the huddle, it's literally no chance to kind of get a message through at the line with how loud that crowd is. And being offensive tackle and the furthest lineman away from the ball, and you typically blocking the most athletic defensive lineman on the front, it is extremely difficult to look at the ball with your right eye and kind of keep focus on the guy with the left eye. I mean, it's tough, and it sucks not to have that crowd at home, but it definitely pays you back when you're on the road, especially going to the 12th man where they can't have their 12th man. So yeah, I definitely think it makes it a little bit easier for me.
Hey, Trent, I got the sense you weren't probably on board with all the, maybe critiques of, what's wrong, how come Trent Williams isn't playing like we expected or whatever. But that being said, the last couple games, do you feel like you are playing better? And if so, is that just maybe a function of being in this offense more and getting more and more comfortable?
I don't know what to attribute it to. I when I look at my grade personally, I mean, average out on the season is right at a 90, a little below like 88. So I mean, I know that with that intricacies in the playbook, I know that sometimes it's a little hard for the people who are grading us that are not in the building to understand whose assignment is on who and what guy's supposed to be where. And some of it is on me, and some of it isn't. And that just comes with the game. It comes with the territory. But all I can do is focus on the next game, next play, and just continue to try to put together consistent football.
Hey Trent, I don't know how much of an opportunity you've had to form a relationship with Jason Verrett since you've been there, but as someone who also went through your own grind to get back to the game, like he has had, is there a sort of special bond that you guys kind of have as people who've gone through those types of things? And if so, what has been your impression of his journey and his ability to get back to where he is?
Yeah, most definitely. Because prior to prior to the bulk of his injuries, I mean, he was considered one of the better cover corners that we have in this league. And I know it's been a long journey for him, a long, rough journey. I mean, he has some injuries that suck to come back from. And yeah, our locker is literally right across from each other. So, you know, we've always had an open line of communication, and then from day one, and then just getting to know him because he's not an outspoken guy at all, but just getting to know him on a personal level and understanding his struggle and what he's went through to get to where he is now, just have a different appreciation for his grind. And I respect the hell out of him. I know that it's not easy to continue to get up after you keep getting knocked down, and he has done so. And I'm just so happy to see him back on the field playing probably some of the best ball that he's played in a long time. And I think when he's healthy, when it comes to just cover a guy, I don't, he's definitely one of the best.
Trent, after so much time off, you were kind of nervous and excited for the season to be end. Now you're almost halfway through. How does everything feel to you? Do you feel like you're in a groove? And then also, the Seattle defense has kind of gotten a bad rap, letting so many yards, and their numbers look really bad. But what have you seen from them on film?
To answer your first question, yeah, being in week 8, honestly, no, the nerves haven't really settled down. It literally feel like the season just started a couple weeks ago. So I'm still working through those jitters, and that a problem. That's just me. I've always been that way, even when I didn't miss football for a year. Just playing every game, I always get those nerves. I've always have that anxiety, and I think that's what makes me human. But to answer your question about Seattle's defense, I think it's a misconception. Only reason because that when you have an offense that good, the opposing offense know that they got to give you their best shot. You literally don't have time to go and try to get in the groove. You can't go 3 and out. You have to score. You really can't even kick field goals because that offense on their sideline. Speaking of Seattle, they're efficient and they score and they put you behind early. And when you're behind early and you know that the more you get a team the ball back, the more they're going to score. It makes you kind of have to start taking shots and so I think that's kind of the reaction we see to just having a good offense. The defense is going to get challenged because teams are in desperation mode a lot of the times, and a lot of the times they're in kind of playing conservative because they're protecting the lead, and that's kind of that bend but don't break fashion.